In our number 10 spot, we have Rahm Emanuel. Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel may be a shapeshifter reptile. I'll let you decide. In September 2012, during a press conference, viewers noticed that his eyes seemed to transform into, well, I'm not quite sure I know how to describe this because it's terrifying. Around his eyes, we see darkness of some sort, and suddenly his actual eyes become enlarged. Honestly, whatever happened wasn't human. Did he reveal himself as a shapeshifter reptile? I'm thinking yes. If you're enjoying this video so far, smash that like button as it'll really help us out. In our number 9 spot, we have Timothy Geithner. Former secretary to the treasurer, Timothy Geithner, has been accused of being a shapeshifter. Why? Well, because there's some weird footage of him possibly doing just that. Footage was taken of him at a press conference sitting and listening to the speaker when all of a sudden something starts happening to his right eye. A weird pattern that honestly looks like a pattern that you would see on a butterfly wing starts to form around his eye, sort of cupping it. It seems that it happens for a few seconds before he realizes it and tries to cover it up by touching the area, and in an instant, it's gone. No one can deny that the footage is rather odd, especially as he touches the area and poof, it's magically gone. It is super possible that we have a butterfly shapeshifter on our hands. Imagine. If I could be a shapeshifter, that's what I would want to be. Something with wings. Probably a fairy. That would be great. In our number 8 spot, we have US General David Petraeus. On June 15, 2010, the US General David Petraeus appeared to faint during a conference, but at one point though, his face appeared to be, well, not human. The footage of this one does appear to be a tad blurry, but it does seem like something has happened to his face. His face looks like it's, deformed, and the person that was looking at him and talking before he fainted did look a tad scared, but it could have been because he could see something was wrong. So there's that. But also, at one point, somebody stood up and conveniently blocked the camera from seeing him, so that's sus. But honestly, the footage for this one is too blurry for me to say, yeah, probs are reptiles. But the people that filmed it and shared it definitely said that they saw something that day and it did not look human. In our number 7 spot, we have Lady Gaga. Okay, Lady Gaga is an interesting one because there is a video that seemingly shows something going on with her eyes, but also she literally said on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert that she, quote, has always liked to shapeshift. Very sus, Gaga. The viewers of the show thought that it was a very interesting choice of words, and so many thought that there was a bit of truth to what she said, as if the energy around the word held more weight. I don't know. Certainly there are so many people that believe that Lady Gaga has had contact with the devil, and so it would make sense if she was a shapeshifter. Remember that time she suspended something in the air with her magical force field? Okay, but for real, is she a magical devil-like being or a shapeshifter? Would love to know your vote in the comment section below. In our number 6 spot, we have Meghan Markle. Meghan Markle, actress turned literal princess when she married Prince Harry, has had quite some speculation around her over being a robot. Now, I've heard many things, including reptilian, and some people believe something has just, replaced her. But the robot shapeshifter is an interesting theory. It started when a clip went viral over Harry and Meghan wearing masks to promote Madame Tussauds new Harry and Meghan edition. But what made everyone feel the creeps is not just the fact that their facial expressions are unsettling, but also because Meghan is not blinking. Terrifying. Whereas Harry apparently was. Anyways, I think that this got everyone to start theorizing that even though this is a mask, she may actually be a shapeshifter robot, and you know what? I don't blame them. We're probs living in iRobot and don't even know it. In our number 5 spot, we have President Bush. Now, this is a clip of Papa Bush, the 41st president of the US, speaking in an interview, and his eyes seem to change. For those of you who don't live in North America, there is a George Bush Sr. and Jr., and they both became president of the US. Anyways, this clip is of George Sr., aka Papa Bush, and most people are in agreement that he is absolutely a reptilian. I mean, at this point, I'm starting to be convinced that all the politicians are, but who knows? Maybe the whole world is. Maybe I am. Honestly, I wish I could shapeshift. Then I would just shapeshift myself into a passenger that has a ticket to board a flight to Paris and peace out of here. You know what I mean? Anyways, in this clip, his eyes definitely form into slits, and there's no doubt that if this clip is real, and so many say that it is, then, you know, he's definitely not human. In our number 4 spot, we have Aileen Wuornos. Aileen Wuornos, who is known as an American serial killer, did a number of interviews before she was executed on October 9th, 2002. During a number of her interviews, people claimed to have seen some weird shape-shifting happening. This is a clip of an interview that she did where her eyes appeared to show that infamous reptile slit. You know, there is so many people that believe that sometimes shapeshifters are responsible for some of the worst crimes in the world, and then they just, you know, shapeshift out of prison afterwards after taking over the body of humans. That's definitely an interesting theory. I mean, regardless, clearly Aileen was evil, so even if she's not a shapeshifter, I'm sure someone could make a case for her being possessed by a demon. In our number 3 spot, we have Reptile Woman. This woman has been dubbed Reptile Woman for pretty obvious reasons. The footage that was taken of this mystery woman surfaced online and was apparently not altered in any way. The footage seems quite normal until it's broken down frame by frame, and suddenly it's as if you see a different person. Her hands look different, her back, her face, and her eyes. It's fascinating. I personally wish the footage was easier to see, as it's not fully convincing me looking at something so blurry. It just makes me feel like it's been altered, but who knows? I may be wrong, and it sure seems like a lot of people believe that it's real. There have been a few people that have tried to debunk it, and truly I think I'm with them on their analysis. This one is too blurry for me to think that it's possibly real, but whatever. It might be. In our number 2 spot, we have M.W. Jeffrey Black Hodgson. Let's call him Jeff, you know, for short. So Jeff is the Grand Master of the Masons in Massachusetts. Yeah, if you don't know anything about the Masons, then definitely have a Google sesh later tonight. That's a whole other rabbit hole in itself. But yeah, if you know anything about the Masons, then you probably won't be surprised that they are on this list. The Grand Master, the big guy calling the shots, is in this video, and he certainly shows signs of being a shapeshifter. From his eyes suddenly showing slits to his skin apparently showing evidence, there are a lot of people that believe that this guy is a shapeshifter. And in our number 1 spot, we have Britney Spears. Okay, this one I refuse to believe is real, because I love her. God, I do not want to believe it, but the footage certainly makes you think that it's possible that she's a shapeshifter, or that a shapeshifter at some point had taken over her body. That to me would check out more when you think of everything that she has been fighting for recently in terms of her freedom and gaining full control of her body back again. Who knows? Perhaps there is way more to it than we can imagine. I just love her though, so I refuse to believe that she was born a reptile. Anyways, in this shot, her eyes seemingly show slits at times, just like a lot of the other footage that we've shown, and this would point to some kind of reptile living within her. Coming up in our number 10 spot, we have Chelsea Handler. Comedian Chelsea Handler has been accused of being a shapeshifter, and it's all because of footage that showed up online showcasing her in an interview, and when you zoom in close to her eyes, they appear for a moment to look like they turn into slits. This probably won't be surprising for you to hear if you watched parts 1 or 2 of the series, because it seems that almost all celebs could be reptiles. I don't know. She can be pretty funny, perhaps otherworldly funny. If you're liking this video so far, would you give it a like, as it really helps us out. In our number 9 spot, we have Nancy Pelosi. If you are someone living outside of America, then you may not know who this woman is. Nancy Pelosi is the Speaker of the United States House of Representatives. She's seemingly one of these politicians that you either love or hate, and the people that lean more on the hate side might also lean into this news a little too. Nancy could be a shapeshifter. Yep, a lot of people speculate over this, as footage surfaced online showing her right eye doing something crazy when she was talking once. Something that is legit impossible. She's speaking, and then all of a sudden it's like her eye rolls back and it becomes fully white with like a black dot slash slit in the middle, and then her real eye returns. It's very strange. This lasts for at least 1.5 seconds, enough that it's very, very noticeable. I don't know, man. If she's not a reptile, then she's gotta be something else, cause this is not human what I just saw. These videos are making me question everyone now. Every so often I have a moment and think, what if everyone is a reptile and I'm amongst the few humans left? And what if their goal is to depopulate us and to continue to grow and populate themselves? It's a very trippy thought. In our number 8 spot, we have Rihanna. No, not Riri. I don't want to believe it. My Disney princess inner essence wants to believe in the good, and Rihanna is one of the good ones. She's not a shape-shifting reptile. But wait, actually, maybe being a reptile isn't a bad thing. Maybe there are good reptiles. Okay, all jokes aside, there is some sus footage of Rihanna out there that could have you convinced that she is possibly one of them and just shape-shifting to look like her beautiful self. In this footage, we once again see the transformation in her eyes like we have in quite a few other people's, but the thing is, the footage is rather blurry, so it's kinda hard to say that she fits in within this group. I'm gonna say she doesn't and just move on to the next one. That's my bias, cause I like her. In our number 7 spot, we have a mysterious creature. Okay, this footage kind of makes me laugh because on one hand, it looks like someone dressed up in a costume playing a practical joke. But on the other hand, if it's real, then this is crazy. That is an alien-looking man out in broad daylight with white-ish eyes and green skin that's a bit textured with what looks to be triangles all over him that are different shades of green. It's curious that no one seems to notice him or his peculiar look. If I was standing beside this man and noticed him for the first time, I would, jump. Like do one of those. Which poses the question, is he just visible via camera and invisible in real life? That would be pretty nuts if that's the case. I did a lot of digging on this one and I haven't seen anyone debunk it yet, so I wonder about it. If this is real and there's aliens like him walking among us, then damn, we've been fooled. In our number 6 spot, we have the sports reptilian. Okay, your girl is not into sports much. I'm a fake Toronto Maple Leafs fan. I only watch them when they're winning, like the rest of Toronto though. All Torontonians do is complain about the Leafs until there's hope that they might do well. So it's not just me. Anyways, so my point is that I know nothing about sports or even what sport this footage was taken at or even who this guy being interviewed is. All I know is the guy behind him is most definitely a shape-shifting reptilian. No way around it. This footage is great and you can see his eyes as clear as day and you cannot convince me otherwise. This guy is definitely not human. He's just casually hanging out behind whomever is being interviewed, and every so often the camera gets a clear shot of his piercing blue eyes that also have a black slit within them. Some people believe that the reptiles are intentionally revealing themselves in footage like this. Honestly, that theory would make sense because otherwise how could they let footage like this get out there? But anyways, this one is nuts. In our number 5 spot, we have Shakira. Pop star Shakira has been accused of being a shapeshifter reptilian. I mean, her voice is angelic and not very human-like, so it makes sense. I mean, her voice is angelic, so someone could argue that it's possibly not human-like. Video footage was taken of her speaking in an interview, and yep, you guessed it, her eyes changed very briefly. Now, it is honestly not the easiest to spot as her eye color is quite dark and possibly also the lighting of the video might have sucked too, but when the footage is slowed down and analyzed closely, it does appear that something is going on. Her eye definitely changes, but is it a full-on slit like so many on this list? It's hard to say. Are there any celebs left that are human? In our number 4 spot, we have 2 aliens walking down the street. I honestly don't know what to call this one other than 2 aliens walking down the street because honestly, that's what it definitely seems like. Either they are aliens or they're people from some kind of Buffy the Vampire set, but apparently this footage is really random and that's why people believe it to be real. Supposedly these 2 men weren't near any kind of set or anything, and that's what makes this more mysterious. The men appear to have very big and different looking ears, darkened eyes, and a bigger nose than most people. Honestly, now that I think about it, they look like they just stepped out of Halloween Town. Tell me you know that movie franchise. It's amazing. We're big on Halloween at my house. Anyways, honestly, movies have made me close-minded to the possibility of seeing someone like this in real life, so it's so hard for me to believe that this is real, but Who knows? In our number 3 spot, we have glowing eye. Okay, this video makes me want to laugh, but honestly, I could also believe that there's something weird going on here. It appears that the footage was taken in some kind of cave, and the cave is somewhat dark in the distance, and all of a sudden you see 2 glowing orbs look out at the camera in the distance. Then it appears to give us a little bit more of itself, and it looks like it's a very weird shape, whatever it is. Is this a shapeshifter or Bigfoot or some other kind of weird thing our brains can't process? I don't know. Not gonna lie, it kind of looks like a giant frog. The round orb-like eyes would check out if it was a frog, and its arms kind of, resemble a frog's arms a bit. I don't know. I don't know why I did this. Do frogs stand like this? Maybe. All I know is this is definitely very strange footage, and that creature could be a shapeshifter. Or a giant frog. I don't know. In our number 2 spot, we have the Dr. Phil guest. For once, it's not a celebrity that revealed themselves as a shapeshifter, but this is an example of just a regular woman. In this footage, Dr. Phil is speaking to a guest, and all of a sudden the guest's eyes turn into slits. Imagine you were sitting on a live show and talking to someone, and all of a sudden you witness their eyes changing. Would you run and scream or just continue on with the interview? I mean, I think inside I would be screaming like a baby, but on the outside I'd look as cool as a cucumber. In our number 1 spot, we have Hillary Clinton. I bet you were wondering if I would ever touch on Hillary Clinton. Well, now is the time. Okay, not gonna lie, there are so many conspiracy theories tied to her being a shapeshifter, reptilian, alien, you name it. But this footage in particular could be nothing, or it could be something. In this footage, it appears that when Hillary takes a drink of water, her chin gets abnormally bigger, and not in a natural way. It appears to enlarge and drop in a way that has people thinking that she might be some kind of reptile. The footage is interesting and strange, and I can see why people might be shocked by it, but I'm not sure I'm fully convinced with this one. Would love to know if you guys are though. In our number 10 spot, we have the Queen of England. Okay, your girl is British, and being so, us Brits just have a soft spot for the Queen, but apparently the rest of the world doesn't, and everybody seemingly thinks she's a shapeshifter reptilian hybrid. So that was news to me. Not only just the Queen, but a lot of people speculate over the entire royal family being reptilian hybrids. The reason being due to some footage that surfaced online that showcased the Queen being dressed in one of her cute outfits. But then all of a sudden, they zoom in on her eye, and you see her eye looking completely creepy. Honestly, the footage is terrifying, and I've watched enough horror movies in my life to recognize a demon when I see one, and her eye looked just a tad bit demon-like. Apparently people have said that her eye was just bloodshot. But yeah, I don't know about that excuse. They really should have said that she had some kind of eye disease, because that I would believe. I've had a bloodshot, probably at least plus 10 times in my life, and I've seen bloodshot eyes several times, and never have I ever seen anything that looks like that. Her entire eye is bloody looking. Honestly, it's as if perhaps someone punched her in the eye, except there's no swelling. It's very strange. So anyways, I see why people think she's possibly a shapeshifter. In our number 9 spot, we have Katy Perry. Okay, this is some crazy footage, y'all. I have obviously heard of the theory that celebs are really just reptiles, but like, damn, Katy Perry? I love her. I don't want to believe it. You can't make me. Okay, but for real, even if she is a shapeshifter reptilian, is it possible that she's not a bad one? I say yes. Anyways, in this clip we see Katy Perry's eye shift from blue to green, and her pupils become slits for a second before she seemingly notices and looks away from the camera. Very sus, Katy. In our number 8 spot, we have Dove Cameron. Dove Cameron is an actress and extremely talented singer, most notably known for her Disney Channel show Liv and Maddie and The Descendants. Her voice is angelic, and personally, I'm a big fan. But regardless of my feelings, people speculate that she is a shapeshifter, or that a shapeshifter has taken over her body. One or the other. There is some recent footage of her doing an interview on the red carpet, and in this interview she has a moment where it seems as if she shifts a little. When you zoom into her eyes, it appears as if for a second her eyes reveal her pupils suddenly turning into a slit, just for a second, before turning back. It's really quite fast, but if you slow down the footage and zoom in closely, you can see it clear as day. So perhaps she has something weird going on with her eye, or perhaps she's actually a shapeshifter. Probably the latter. In our number 7 spot, we have Beyonce. Many are very suspicious of Beyonce apparently, and I had no idea. Apparently she is one of the most suspicious of the Hollywood celebs that people are pretty certain is a shapeshifter reptile, and it's because of a few different shots of her that reveal some pretty wild things. Apparently in one shot you see Beyonce singing, and suddenly the side of her face almost looks scaly. In another shot, Beyonce is dancing on stage and whipping her hair around, and for a millisecond you can literally see her face transform into a demon. I'm not joking, it's terrifying. And it's probably real. It's hard to believe her heavenly voice is even human, so most likely she's from out of this world. What do you think? Leave a comment in the comment section below. In our number 6 spot, we have Antique Roadshow Reptile. In this video, captured on camera, it is a regular episode of the BBC show The Antiques Roadshow, when, in the background, the camera captured a man staring at the camera. His eyes appear pretty large, being opened quite wide, and if you zoom in, it looks as if his pupils have slits. His eyes resemble a snake's eyes, revealing that he is obviously a shapeshifter snake. He doesn't appear to be with anyone, just hanging in the background, smirking at what he's observing. It's crazy to see this on camera, but I wonder if anyone has actually seen this in person. My suspicious brain would probs not even believe anyone, even if they did claim that they saw this in real life. I'd be like, show me that proof, or nothing. I'll just be sad. In our number 5 spot, we have the NBC shapeshifter. In 1995, there was reportedly an NBC News reporter by the name of Isaiah Carey who was in the middle of filming when he allegedly swallowed a grasshopper. What's eerie about this video is that if you zoom in, you can observe him having an abnormally large, somewhat pointy tongue, and the color is slightly green. The reporter had a very big reaction, which, I mean, if I swallowed a grasshopper, I would have screamed. Drama queen. But most people think that he turned away from the camera to hide his tongue, which does seem possible, but then again, no one wants to have something that gross documented on camera, so I would probably turn away too. Reptile or human? Probably reptile. In our number 4 spot, we have the Mexican schoolboy. In a video that was shared in September of 2018, there appears to be a boy and a girl, and a lot of chaos around them. Students leaving their seats and a lot of hustle and bustle when all of a sudden, the girl seems to turn into the boy, and the boy falls down and faints. She runs down the stairs, now as him, and then after 30 seconds on the ground, the boy, who's being approached by adults, he suddenly wakes up and begins to run at top speed away from the scene. Honestly, this one to me feels like it's straight out of a sci-fi show. I mean, at one part it does look like it's filmed on a phone, but for the most part it kind of gives me old Degrassi The Next Generation vibes, but maybe that's just me. Anyone else with me? But people say that it is real, and so all I have to say is that, damn. Yep, that's all I've got. In our number 3 spot, we have the shape-shifting goat. In 2009, Nigerian police actually arrested a goat as apparently someone had shape-shifted into it. It was caught by vigilantes who were chasing 2 men who were trying to steal a Mazda car. They claimed that one of the 2 men escaped while the other used black magic to transform into a goat. Okay, this one wasn't caught on camera, but I thought you had to be told about this because I'm tripping out. Reportedly, the police said one of them escaped and the other turned into a goat. We cannot confirm the theory, but the goat is in our custody. This is the best one I've ever done. We cannot base our information on something mystical. It is something that has to be proved scientifically that a human being turned into a goat. Okay, so anyone else kinda hoping this story isn't true only because then the story is that a bunch of police arrested a goat? Honestly, I'm good with either story being true. In our number 2 spot, we have the alien security guard. In 2012, at the US-Israel Policy Conference, while President Obama was making a speech, there were cameras that were circulating around the area, and they were shooting footage of the audience. From the front view, we see 2 security guards standing in the aisle. They look like, you know, they're most likely CIA agents. But then a camera shoots the security guards from behind, and one of them in particular does not look human from behind, as well as the camera catches him looking completely different than he does from the front. We see a bald man with no ears and a pointy chin. His nose looks short and rounded, and his eyes appear to be dark and quite sunken in. Most people think that because it was so dark and crowded that people would have missed this, and that the camera caught this shapeshifter in a blip of a moment in its true form. Many have concluded from this footage that the US is in cahoots with an alien race. And at this point, I'm pretty convinced too. What do you think? In our number 1 spot, we have the alleyway shifter. Okay, this clip is crazy. This is footage of a person that goes into an alleyway that is semi-lit and stands still. And then what appears to be a dark shadow leaves its body and walks away, and the person remains frozen. This clip is so controversial and has been a point of debate for some time now, but I'm not sure what you can even debate. You can clearly see someone or something leave the body and the body stays frozen in place. This clip is one of the most seemingly real clips out of everything I saw, but apparently all of the footage is real. Interesting. Very interesting indeed.
Starting us off at the number 10 spot is the late Queen Elizabeth II. So it's no secret that there are quite a lot of people out there who are not fans of the royal family. And while for some it might just be about an overall lack of likeness towards the monarchy, there are many out there whose hatred stems from a deep-seated belief that everyone in the royal family are in fact shape-shifting lizard people. This all started from some footage that was found online of the Queen where some particularly strange eyes seem to appear out of nowhere. In the video, the Queen is standing at what appears to be a game of sorts, and then all of a sudden her eyes change to look almost like some sort of crazy demon. Immediately people were freaked and jumped to the conclusion that it was because she was a shape-shifting lizard. But others blew it off as just her having bloodshot eyes. Now, listen, I don't know about you, but I've never seen a bloodshot eye that was completely black before. I'm just saying. As you can imagine, this footage did not help the royal family's rep of being from the constellation Draco, and only further cemented the belief that they are all evil lizards. What do you think? Coming in at number 9 is Katy Perry. So here's the thing about lizard people. They tend to be exclusively pinned on celebrities. Now there is some reasoning behind this. It's because the shapeshifters are supposed to be evil, and so they take over the bodies of celebrities or leaders in order to be able to have the power to wreak havoc on our world. One of the celebs that people swear is a lizard is none other than Miss Teenage Dream herself, Katy Perry. The footage that brought her into this world comes from an interview she did years ago where for just a millisecond it appears like her eyes change color from a sort of blue to green, and just for a second it looks like her pupils turn into slits. Oh, I should mention that apparently a calling card of these lizard people is that they have green eyes, so her eyes supposedly changing to green was seen as proof of her real lizard self peeking through. Suspicious? You tell me. Next up at number 8 is Rihanna. I refuse to believe that Riri could be an evil reptile alien sent here to wreak havoc and cause evil, because number 1, she's like the chillest human ever, and 2, I mean, she's Rihanna, so I don't want it to be true. But it looks like even the good ones aren't safe according to believers of the lizard people. The proof comes from some kinda sus footage from what looks like a live talk show or something, and even though it's a bit blurry, it does look like there's something weird going on. If you pay close attention, it does appear that her eyes turn into slits for just a millisecond before turning back to normal. I mean, should we be worried? Could she really be a lizard person? I mean, even if she was, she would easily be the most beautiful lizard person I've ever seen, so at least there's that. Coming in at number 7 is Angelina Jolie. From what I have come to understand about the conspiracy race of the shape-shifting reptiles that walk the earth with us, is that more often than not it is the eyes that give them away. Maybe their eyes are the hardest to control shape-shifting wise? I'm not totally sure, to be honest, but I Either way, there are definitely some strange videos out there with some weird things going on in the eyeball region. One of these videos is of A-lister Angelina Jolie. In this particular interview, you can see she's blinking her eyes a ton, which you might not think much of, but when you zoom in really tight and slow down the footage, you can see that there is a half a millisecond where it looks like her pupils elongate into slits before snapping right back into normal. My question is, does the blinking have anything to do with the trying to control their eyes from changing? Again, I have no clue what's true and have no facts to back that up, but the video is for sure a little strange. Next up at number 6 is Shakira. Once again, another pop princess with the voice of an angel has been accused of being one of the evil lizard people sent to destroy the planet. The clip that caused the uproar is from an interview a few years ago where, yep, you guessed it, her eyes slightly changed shape for a millisecond. For starters, her eyes are already quite dark, so it's a little hard to tell at first, but when the video gets slowed down and you zoom in, I will admit I can kind of see where people are going with the whole eyes changing thing. There is a moment where it does kind of look like her pupils shift into a thinner shape, and dare I say the iris kind of goes more coppery? Is that a sign? I have no idea. Truth be told, it might not be quite as obvious as some of the other ones on the list, but nonetheless, there are many out there that insist she is among the shapeshifters. Apparently, it's not just her hips that don't lie, but her eyes too. Coming in at number 5 is Lady Gaga. Okay, let me make one thing very clear. I'm a huge fan of Lady Gaga. Like, huge. I think she's an amazing artist and just a super badass person. All of that being said, I am fully aware that many people think she's a total weirdo, and like, if lizard people did turn out to be real, I could see why people would suspect Gaga to be one. I mean, if anything, what is more camp than being a shape-shifting reptile masquerading as a human, right? The main clip that brought Gaga into the suspect list of shapeshifters was from a live interview several years back, and just like almost every alleged lizard person, the clues were in her eyes. Now, first off, her eye makeup, gorgeous, but if you peer a little deeper into those eyes, you might notice something kinda looks off. She looks down for a second, blinks her eyes, and then just ever so slightly you can see that it looks like her pupils change shape and get slightly thinner for a second. Then boom, back to normal. Also, she did once say in an interview that she has always loved to shapeshift. I mean, she was talking about her hair and makeup, but was it a clue? Is this solid proof she's a lizard person from the constellation of Draco? I guess it depends on who you ask. Next up at number 4 is Isaiah Carey. Several years back in 1995, there was a reporter for NBC who became an overnight sensation after a hilarious video of him swallowing a grasshopper aired during a live broadcast. People kind of fell in love with him because he had such a huge reaction and totally switched up his entire demeanor after he accidentally swallowed the bug. However, not too long after, some people noticed something was a little off about the video, and some even started to wonder if swallowing the bug was an accident at all. What's strange about this video is that if you pay close enough attention, kinda looks like his tongue is actually aiming for the bug, just like a frog reaching for a fly. Not to mention, he has quite a big tongue compared to most people, and it kinda looks a little pointy. Either way, after he swallows the bug, he immediately turns away from the camera, and some have suggested this is to hide any further evidence that he was actively shapeshifting at the time. But also, I would probably turn away from a camera if a bug flew into my mouth without warning too. I don't know, man. Either way, the video is hilarious, so let me know what you think. Evil reptile or funny human? Coming in at number 3 is a mysterious creature. So this video is definitely one of the weirder ones on this list, cause like, actually, what the heck is happening? Inside what appears to be some sort of cave, a pair of glowing orb eyeball things peek out from behind the wall, but when whoever is actually holding the camera advances on them, they quickly retreat back behind the wall. Like, not gonna lie, it's kind of creepy. The creature then continues to peek out to see if the cameraman is gone before stepping out completely, showing its unnerving form, and then suddenly bolting away deeper into the cave, never to be seen again. Now, the real question, of course, what is it? Is it a shapeshifter, a weird alien, some other weird thing we have never heard of or seen before? I mean, all I know is I would not want to see that alone in a dark dark cave by myself. I just have a bad feeling it would kill me and eat my flesh. I'm just saying. Coming in at number 2, a security guard. It goes without saying that presidents are not going to really go anywhere without their security guards. But what do we really know about their security? And if there is reason to believe that politicians themselves are a part of the alien lizard race, then wouldn't it make sense that their protection would be too? Well, speaking of, back in 2012, during a speech made by President Obama, footage of the audience captured a peculiar looking security guard in the crowd. At first glance, you might think it's just like a pale, bald dude standing there, but when they pan to the side, it straight up looks like he has no ears. I mean, what is going on here? It's giving Voldemort, if you ask me. Even weirder is when the video zooms in. If you really pay attention, it kind of looks like his head is pulsating, which, truth be told, I have no clue what that could be about, but lots of people have come forward saying it's definitely footage of him shapeshifting right before our eyes. I mean, would that mean that everyone in the CIA is a lizard person, or just a select few? I want to know how it's decided what people get taken over by the alien lizard overlords. What is their system is all. I'm just wondering. And last up today in our number 1 spot is Timothy Geithner. As I mentioned, it's not just A-list movie star celebs that have been accused of being a part of the lizard race taking over mankind. Among some of the most accused are politicians and even the staff that work under them. Former Secretary of the Treasury under President Obama's presidency is among one of those that some have come to believe is a dangerous lizard person hiding behind the face of a human man. The clip that raised some eyebrows and added him into the long list of potential involved personnel came from some kind of speech, and it definitely is very odd. Unlike most of the others on this list, it wasn't his eyes that had people questioning him, but the skin surrounding them. For a moment in the video, it looks like Timothy shifts into his reptile form, and the scales begin to show through the skin around his eyes, until suddenly he touches his face and it magically disappears. Like, could this be faked? I mean, of course it could, it's the internet. But like, was it? Or is it just a really super creepy video proving an alien race of lizard people? You tell me, man.
Alright, let's kick off this lizard party with John Kerry. John Kerry is a US politician. He's a Democrat. It's about all I know or care about. I don't pay attention to politics, alright? I'm too busy covering the important issues. Guys, ghosts, Mothman, today it's lizard people. I'm basically a real life Fox Mulder, and I'm pretty good at what I do. But you know what's not awesome? The cabal of lizard people trying to infiltrate our entire society. In this video from back in 2013, we see Kerry speaking with Congress, but try to see if you can spot something strange going on. Yeah, he keeps licking his lips. He does it over and over again. Now maybe he had some ice cream residue on his lip, or his tongue was itchy and he was like itching his tongue by doing that or something. Maybe he was having a hard time keeping his true lizard form at bay though. Look at how fast his tongue moves too. It's not a sultry lip lick. You wouldn't be looking at someone across the club and like lick your lips like this. Nor should you do that ever probably. But this is like a fast, like I have a fly to catch kind of tongue flick, so I don't know. Is he a lizard man? Obviously yes. Number 9, Justin Bieber. Politicians and famous people seem to be the main culprits when it comes to these elusive shape-shifting lizards. Makes sense. I mean, like, what better way to overturn society than by seeping your way into politics and pop culture, the circles that hold the most influence over society. Not the case for me though. I don't pay attention to music. I'm too busy uncovering the real stuff. Cryptids. Ghosts. You know the drill. I'm not going to repeat myself over and over again. In this video we watch as Justin Bieber's eyes seem to act up. Like, just take a look. So his eyes look normal, then he blinks, then when he opens his eyes back up, it looks like they're partially covered. A bit like certain lizard species who have the semi-translucent caps that cover their eyes, right? And it looks like Believer just dropped the ball here. His lizard eyes loose. They just let loose momentarily, and he thought nobody would notice, but we did. And now the secret is out. Back to your dank, dark underground dwelling, Beaver. Next on the list is Nicki Minaj, another pop singer with secret ties to the land of the lizards. Now this happens very fast, so pay close attention. Put your portable telephone down, full screen me, lean in, and feast your eyes on this weirdness. Seems like Nicki Minaj was in the middle of an interview when suddenly her circular, human-looking pupil transforms into a vertical slit, just for a brief moment. Pretty freaky stuff. If I'd been doing this interview and I saw that happen, I'd have a couple follow-up questions. I'd play it smart though. I wouldn't want the lizards getting a whiff of how onto them I really am. Like, I wouldn't come right out and ask if she's a lizard person, but like, hey, are your eyes okay? Looks like they morphed, but I definitely don't think you're a lizard person at all though. I think that would be a smooth way of kind of broaching that subject and getting one step closer to the truth. Yeah, don't you? Anyway, it looks like Anaconda might be more of a personal song to her than we initially thought. Number 7, we have a reptilian standing behind a man being interviewed. This interview was taken at a sporting event of some kind. I have a feeling it's a baseball match, but I'm not sure. Do I watch sports? What do you think? Once again, guys, my expertise is in uncovering the truth within the world of the strange and bizarre. I don't have time to watch people throw, kick, punt, hit balls into baskets. So this man is being interviewed about something I don't care about when suddenly we catch a glimpse of the man standing behind him. Man may be a bit of a stretch here. Lizard man, far more likely. Just look at his eye. I've never seen a pupil like that in my entire life. It looks like it almost has a bit of a diamond kind of shape to it. Doesn't seem like a trick of the light or a glitch in the footage, as this isn't one of those cases like with Nicki Minaj or Justin Bieber where it just happens briefly. It just seems like this is the way this man's eye is. It's kind of cool, but I don't know. Can I trust someone with eyes, the eyes of a lizard? I don't think so. Next on the list, we have an alien security guard. All right, we're back to the world of politics now. This footage was taken at some kind of political event. Suffice to say, there were some high-ups in the audience. Now we see a bunch of average-looking dudes and one lady seated in the foreground. At first, you'd probably look at this image and think nothing of it, but take a look at the weirdo in the background. Whatever this thing is, it does not look human. And no, it's not just that he's bald. Nothing wrong with being bald, all right? I think it's just his lack of ears that gives me a bit of the willies. Look at him, it looks like he just has a hole where his ears should be. Now, if he suffered some kind of horrific incident or something like that, I'm very sorry. And you are not a reptile, sir. But I don't know, he looks very snake-like to me. Actually, this dude, he's a dead ringer for Voldemort from the hit British book and film series Harry Potter. Don't know if you've ever checked it out. It's kind of uncanny though, actually. Number 5, the skin suit. In this clip shared on TikTok by aliens_and_cryptids, we see a man in an interview, possibly a news reporter, although I'm not 100% certain. Seems to be a normal, everyday dude, but suddenly something weird happens to his face. Yeah, what the heck happened there? It's not even just his eyes that bug out and reveal some reptilian version underneath. His face also seems to contort a bit, almost like rubber. Is this actually a lizard person wearing a skin suit that malfunctioned? Well, it certainly looks like it to me, and I may not know my sports or music or politics, but I do know about my aliens, my ghosts and ghouls, and my lizard people. Not my lizard, I'm not a lizard person myself, but this guy is very likely a lizard in disguise. There's just no denying it, really. Number 4, Shark Man. Now, I've talked a lot about lizard people on this list so far. In fact, that's been every point up until now. So what about the creatures that have come from deep within the darkest depths of the ocean to seep their way into the inner workings of our societal structure, the fish people? In this clip, we see Barack Obama greeting Lee Rosenberg. Who is Lee Rosenberg, you ask? He's a shark man. Looking closely at this clip, you can see that when Rosenberg smiles, his true shark form slightly rises to the surface, displaying a set of razor-sharp shark chompers. I can almost hear the unnerving soundtrack to Jaws playing in my head as Obama walks to the podium to greet this underwater fiend. The question is Is Barack truly chums with what he knows to be a shark man, or is he just chum? Next on the list, we have a clip from Dr. Phil. Now, I'm not saying that Dr. Phil is a reptilian. I mean, he could be, but there's no evidence of that. So it's the guest I'm putting in the hot seat here. So just take a look at this woman's eyes. Do these look like your standard circular pupils to you? No, looks like we have the classic vertical slits going on here. Very unsettling stuff. I think Dr. Phil needs to switch gears and talk about the stuff that really matters. You know, he should be having people suspected of being reptilians on his show all the time from now on and just ask them the important questions. Let me get this straight. You tell me you're not a reptilian? I think you need to zip your lip. It'd be so fun to watch. I want that show on TV. Next up, we have a reporter shapeshifting on live TV. Now, a lot of this list has been eye stuff, so let's talk about another big telltale sign that someone is a shapeshifter. Their skin, the fake disguise they're wearing to conceal their disgusting, monstrous lizard form underneath. This is Michael Brownlee, a reporter who seems to morph on live TV a little too often. We watch as his face begins to distort, almost like a scaly type of pattern begins to form on his face. In one clip, he even seems to move out of frame, and almost like he's in a slight panic, seemingly feeling his human disguise begin to slip away. If I were a reptilian, which I'm definitely not, once again, I would have this guy come back down to the underground lizard society below and just practice staying in his human form a bit better. Like, stop transforming on live television, Mike. Ruining it for all of us. Just hold it together, bud. And finally, we have the Antiques Roadshow reptilian. Anyone ever watched Antiques Roadshow? My grandparents used to watch it. I heard it's a good show to fall asleep to. There just aren't enough demons and aliens in it for me, you know? Oh, but wait. Apparently there was in this episode. In this video, originally uploaded by follower of Yahushua, she spotted an odd-looking man in the background of one shot. He clearly has some very strange eyes and is just staring almost directly into the camera. He does seem to be very intrigued by whatever antique they're looking at, though. He's like, kind of like, what's that? Maybe this reptilian just wanted to like do some antique shopping that day, find a set of old spoons or something, or this lizard man was on a mission to find an important relic, something they could use to bring about the downfall of the human race.